Chelsea. Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe.
So tough with that bad boy talk. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought.
Let me ask you a question. I've got a question for you. How excited am I allowed to be about a home win to 20th side Sheffield United in the Premier League? Hey? That's the question. Chelsea 2, Sheffield United, nil points. Okay, context. This is how Liverpool beat them. Liverpool beat them 2-0. We've done a Liverpool, and Liverpool, are they top of the Premier League right now, I believe? So, fine. It's fine. No Nkunku. In today's video, we're going to talk about Cole Palmer, of course, involved in both goals, and actually robbed of a third goal involvement by Amanda Bria, missing a peculiar sitter, literally like inside the goal, granted with his wrong foot. So, Cole Palmer, no Nkunku, a Petrovic clean sheet, and other stuff. 4 centre-backs, back 4, a double pivot, including Conor Gallagher. Enzo, of course, dropped until the second half, rested, I suppose. So let me know what you think. We're going to get into it fully today. Get comfortable, settle in, pour yourself a drink, all that good stuff. Thank you for supporting the content, or consider supporting the content, simply by liking and subscribing and hitting that bell notifications icon so you don't miss a beat. I try and bring you Chelsea news, reactions, commentary every single day. Well, I do every single day. So you can be a part of that. Subscribe. All right, mate. So we went with a 4-2-3-1. And before we go into this, I should say that this isn't Paul Heckingbottom's Sheffield United. This is Chris Wilder's Sheffield United. Chris Wilder got into the Premier League, got top half finishes, and he's a good manager, and he's like galvanizing the squad. And they are better since he's come in. So, context is required there. Like, if someone said to you, oh, Chris Wilder got a win at Stamford Bridge playing his back three and, he's rallying the team and they're not going to go down without a fight, I don't think many people would be like, oh my God, what a shock. They'd be like, yeah, low block and counter. Absolutely. It's the blueprint to get Chelsea. Interestingly, Chris Wilder played a back 4. He's kept that since he's come in. And he emulated, which essentially is the blueprint to beat Chelsea this season. Low block and counter. But he didn't beat us. And that's good. That's a positive thing. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about the first half, because there was one footballer in the first half that shone, and that was Conor Gallagher for Chelsea. And, he had a really good game. Possibly, spoiler, our man of the match. Maybe. But he was the only good Chelsea player in the first half. And we had, brace yourself for this, take a deep breath. By the end of the first half, Chelsea generated a total of 0.09 expected goals. That's not even a tenth of a goal. Not even 10% of a goal we generated at home in the Premier League against Sheffield United. And at that point, I'm thinking, we're done for. I was literally falling asleep, mate. I was getting apathetic, and that's when you're in serious trouble as a football fan and footballing institution. I did my halftime live show at Football Yannick. If you want to follow me on Instagram, at Football Yannick. That's my Instagram handle. And it was real bad. Chelsea, it was a 4-1 from Wilder. Chelsea played a 4-2-3-1. Resting, I think, Enzo, but presumably Pochettino wanted to play his favoured 4-2-3-1 formation to try and break down what we knew was going to be a low block at home. So he had Petrovic in goal, which of course he was forced to play. We'll speak about him as well in player performances in a moment. He did what a lot of us expected, and I think what I said in my preview for the 4 centre-backs, Colwill, Badiashile, Silva and Disasi, which, to be honest, they looked defensively, we look so solid. I mean, we've got 4 big men back there. I think probably Pochettino's thought was we're playing against Sheffield United. We need to be big in both boxes, otherwise we'll get bullied. And it worked. I know many Chelsea fans across different social media platforms were very upset. The fact how we had both Gusto and Martin on the bench, conventional fullbacks. Granted, Martin's only played a few minutes at left back, but he is theoretically a left back. So both on the bench against Sheffield United at home, everyone was like, why are you doing this? But I think we're maybe underestimating the pressure that we're sort of under at the moment. So he went with the security, and to be honest, in hindsight, it paid off. We saw a double pivot of Caicedo and Gallagher, so defensive nous of Caicedo, the industry of Gallagher, and I guess because we're playing a front four, that's why we rested Enzo. I think maybe Enzo was overloaded a little bit. We had Jackson. With Jackson up front, with Palmer in the number 10 behind him, Sterling on the right, Mudryk on the left. We had substitute appearances from Gusto and Maatsen. Is that it? No, where Breuer came on as well, of course. Yeah, Breuer, Fernandes, Maatsen, and Gusto. And we didn't see Nkunku. So, should we start with Nkunku? Look, I don't agree with the decision not to bring him on. He was in the squad. Pochettino said he'll be involved, which is good for Chelsea fans. Maybe this is a little bit lost in translation, and what he means by Nkunku will be involved is he is going to be in the squad. He was certainly in the squad. He was on the bench. So I guess that's what the manager meant by that. But come on, bro. 2-0 up at home against last place Sheffield United. Bring him on. Bring him on. Give these fans. It wasn't, such a boring first half. Give the fans Nkunku. I know we're playing Newcastle in a few days, in the cup at home as well. So, but Newcastle I know they're struck with injuries and they've got emotional fallout from the Champions League, but they will be going for that cup game. That's their season. Do you know what I mean? Just give Nkunku a taste. We're winning. We're winning against Sheffield. Give him 5 minutes. Just give him, the opportunity to just be substituted on, get the applause from the fans, just run around, see Stamford Bridge on a match day with your teammates around you. If not, just for 2 freaking minutes. Even if you're right, we're totally safe here. There's no way they can score 2 goals in 90 seconds left of the game. Bring him on for that. That's what I think. I think this is the perfect opportunity. Now, maybe Pochettino, I know in his last pre-match presser, he was like, we are going to succeed. Don't you worry about us, mate. We are fine. But maybe he's feeling the pressure and he's just thinking, right, we need points in the Premier League. Just see this out. And don't risk Nkunku. Maybe there is, because he's got his own medical team, and despite Nkunku, joking around saying he's been ready for weeks, maybe he just wants to, look, if he doesn't have to risk him, another few days training, another few days, doing drills with the team, maybe he thinks that it's just worth it. It's just worth doing that for Nkunku. And maybe in the long run, that's correct by Pochettino, and that's the sensible thing, and us as just football fans just want to watch our new player play. But I find it very difficult to look past the fact how this was just such a good opportunity to get him on for a couple of minutes and let him acclimatise before the next game. Maybe I'm being this guy's a freaking top scorer in Bundesliga, France international, he's won titles. Maybe I'm, being a little bit silly and he's just not bothered by that. And Pochettino's right. Let me know what you think about Nkunku not featuring in this game down below. Chelsea, of course, won 2-0. I'm not going to talk about that first half, apart from, like I said, not even a tenth of a goal in terms of XG. Conor Gallagher deserves round of applause. Loads of interceptions, loads of high turnovers, and basically was the only player that looked like he was playing football. And, to his credit, he continued. Of course, it was all about the second half. Raheem Sterling doing some excellent work. And it's worth mentioning as well, it is worth mentioning that Raheem Sterling and Cole Palmer switched, and Sterling looked a lot better when he was playing in the number 10 behind the striker, which was Jackson. I don't know if he played when Breuer was on the pitch. Actually, Breuer and Jackson played together. Jackson went out wide, eventually obviously coming off. But so Jackson did also play that. He was a winger at Villarreal. People need to remember he was moved as a striker for a few months before Chelsea purchased him. It's always, I feel like it's important to remind people that. So I think Sterling played a lot better in his moments when he was playing in the number 10 behind the striker, which is interesting because his preferred position's left wing. He's done great work this season on the right wing, of course, at Luton at home, which is kind of similar profile to this. He completely cooks on the right wing. But he looked good there. Sterling doing some great work in the build-up to put a ball across. Cole Palmer doing what an instinctive finisher should do and getting a goal. And I believe that's his 6th goal of the season. Cole Palmer involved again, but minutes after, 6 or 7 minutes after, assisting Jackson and himself doing some great work and receiving the ball out wide, doing a cutback after some peculiar passages of play, and Nico Jackson just darting in and finishing. It was an easy tap-in, from both of them were tap-ins, but I will take those kind of goals all day, those FIFA goals where you just carve them open and cross it and tap in. That's a Pep Guardiola Man City goal. Sterling knows all about finishing those. So we're 2-0 up at this point. It's 61 minutes, and I'm actually quite shocked how we didn't go on to win it 3 or 4-0. I think maybe we played it quite safe. Of course, I've already mentioned how Cole Palmer should have had another assist after assisting that Nicolas Jackson goal, but Breuer here with his wrong foot and just running into the goal. Open goal in front of him, he skies it over. Head in hands, it happens, bro. Don't you worry about it. But Cole Palmer, I believe, has got 3 Premier League assists. That should have been his 4th. So that would have had that, Breuer just tapped it in, that would have been the 10th league goal involvement from Cole Palmer, which, considering we're just mid-December, is sensational stuff, really. He can, if he gets 20 Premier League goal involvements, this young 21-year-old in his first season for Chelsea, in a dysfunctional Chelsea, excellent work indeed. Of course, later on we see substitute appearances from Enzo Fernandez, Armando Breuer, and then eventually, lastly, Martin and Gusto. So we put some fullbacks on for the centre-backs at the end. Not sure why. I think Gusto just to reintroduce him to the team after injury. Martin token minutes to remind people he exists, I guess, before the January transfer window. Maybe. I have a feeling we'll flog him, and then Cucurella and Chilwell will come back and hopefully we have a medical team by then that can keep players fit. So should we talk about player performances? Petrovic, in his first start for Chelsea, got himself a clean sheet. And I know it's against Sheffield. I know, you could say whatever, but it's still important. I don't think he made a save, but he played the ball well. He made a couple of good passes. He claimed the ball a couple of times, I believe. It's what you want, really, a nice, safe game. So he said 1 start for Chelsea, 1 clean sheet. Bang, that's what you want, baby. I actually think, I know the first half was ridiculously bland and ridiculously boring. And, of course, had we played fullbacks instead of centre-backs out wide, you could sort of bet your bottom dollar that first half would have generated more of an attacking threat. But despite that, I think the back four were actually very good. I think Colwill was, I think the 2 centre-back... the 2 inside centre-backs in Badiashile and Silva were all of them dominated in terms of physical aggression. Of course, Colwill conceded that foul at the end of the first half. That just wasn't a foul. It was an excellent tackle. I'm looking at their stats and ratings here on Who Scored. The back 4 are all solid. They're between late 6.9 and 7.3. They're very, very strong. The double pivot worked very well. Caicedo, very frustrating in the first half, but it was going forwards, I think. But he kept us safe. I think Caicedo is just slowly drip feed, getting better and better. Like I said before, Gallagher was easily our player of the match in the first half, possibly for the entire game. Jackson, very frustrating, but he got his goal tap in, of course, but the guy's in 7 Premier League goals. If he ends the season on 15 non-penalty Premier League goals as a recently converted winger from Villarreal that was transferred to Chelsea, you can't be angry at that. I'm not saying that's good enough for Chelsea's first choice number 9, but I think statistically people might reflect on Jackson's season at the end of the season pretty well. 7 goals. Of course, Højlund looks like a talented player. He's yet to get a goal. It's silly and childish to compare the 2, but it's still kind of relevant. Chelsea are a dysfunctional side as like Man United is. In fact, we're many places behind them on the table. What else? Palmer, goal and assist. Definitely our most offensive attacking, positive offensive threat. Like I said, not only did he get the goal and the assist, but he probably should have had another assist from Breuer. So, yeah, for me, I'm going to grant Football Therapy's man of the match. I'm going to share it between Gallagher and Palmer. And then, Jackson got the goal. Fernandez actually looked very... Well, I should mention Sterling as well. Actually, I need to talk about Mudryk as well. Sterling, good. He looked much better when he went inside in the second half. Everyone was bad in the first half. When he sort of went more central, Sterling looked a lot better, of course, getting a vital assist. And in terms of substitutes, Martin and Gusto aren't worth mentioning because they didn't play long enough. Breuer, he looked okay, but he missed that big chance. I think Enzo Fernandez looked very good when coming on, which is a refreshing change because of late he's been a little bit off the boil, certainly people underrated how good Enzo Fernandez was in the first 8 months of his Chelsea career, but he went off the boil. Kind of understandably, he kept doing long haul international breaks, and he's just been overcooked. And maybe that's why you got to rest him for games like this. But yeah, he looks very good off the bench, looks very offensive. I think maybe he certainly starts against Newcastle in midweek. Can be very, very good there. We're at home, of course, so that will be very good. And I think Mudryk was bad, but that's okay. I mean, I know what Mudryk is. He's a very good, raw, power potential player. A lot of alliteration there with the P's. He's very fast. He's very, despite he can get knocked off the ball, he is tough. And he's got a very powerful shot on him if you can keep it down. He took a shot and it went out to the corner flag, which is just, obviously he sliced it. He lost the ball a couple of times and he did a misplaced pass. I did it again at Football Yannick on Instagram, and my halftime live, I spoke about this and said, yes, I think he's been really bad, notably bad, certainly that first half. But I'm not going to judge him for that because Chelsea were really bad and we know Mudryk needs coaching. Adam Crafton of The Athletic, who followed him at Shakhtar and covered the story extensively about his, imminent move to Arsenal when he was being courted by Arsenal. So he did a lot of journalistic scouting. And this guy was very good for Shakhtar because they played in one way that was run Mudryk behind, hit it in confidence, and he was talismanic. Coming into a system, he's learning, he's doing well, he's really, his application's good, he will do the passing. Clearly Pochettino's trusting him to do what he tells him to do, but he's got these moments that are poor, and you're really just going to have to hope that with continuity, time, coaching. But I think in terms of who's going to benefit the most out of Chelsea becoming just less chaotic, mental and dysregulated and dysfunctional, he's one of those players. Do you know what I mean? Gallagher, he's going to shine bright when you're bad, and then he's going to be useful when you're good. And in a way, kind of I think Cole Palmer shines bright when you're bad and should shine bright, even brighter when we're good. So Cole Palmer's a little bit of a gem in that sense. But Mudryk, when you're bad, he's not going to drag you out of it. He's not going to be a shining light. So he's going to be one of those players that do better when we are better. Even Sterling as well. I think he's I know Sterling wants to be that guy. He wants to play hero ball, but his experience now and again is shining through and helping us. But Sterling will be better when we're all better. It's only really players I think and I'm so happy. I would be so happy to be proven wrong. But my concerns currently are players like Jackson, who I said he's got 7 goals. I wonder if Chelsea become a much better footballing side, efficient. I know Jackson can link up well. We saw him pre-season. And I hope he does it, when Chelsea are better. When we get better, touch wood. But I do wonder if Chelsea become a really, more, strong character, efficient team, will players like Jackson be good enough? That's kind of what I worry about. Still, a win is a win is a win is a win. We just lost to Everton. No one. The fact remains is no one would have been shocked if we lost to Sheffield or drew to Sheffield. But we got a win. We got multiple goals. Petrovic got a clean sheet, and maybe even though I certainly disagree with it. I imagine a lot of you will. Even though we're disappointed that we didn't see Nkunku, maybe Pochettino will think, okay, good. Good. I didn't need to use him, and it's another couple of days getting him ready. So let me know what you think. Comment down below. There's so much popping off in Chelsea at the moment. I want to talk about Corriere dello Sport saying actually the release clause for Victor Osimhen's £86 million, which is redunculous. That blew my mind. I'm going to research that and probably talk about it tomorrow. So do turn the bell on when you subscribe. Thank you for liking and commenting. I can't wait to read your comments. And hopefully see you guys back here very soon. Please.